Perfect. We'd like to start on time. Thank you everyone for being here. Welcome to the EU Pavilion. Just a little short introduction on my behalf. My name is Danae, and the EU Pavilion is a coordinated initiative with the European Commission and 5 EU-funded programs. So there is Alinvest Verde, the Grandes Bosques de Mesoamérica, Euroclima, Amazonia Plus, and the Post-2020 Biodiversity Framework EU Support Project. So we've all been working together to get this to work, and we're very happy and excited to have you here today. Just a little information. This session is the first one we're going to be recording if everything works well. So I'm going to pass around a sheet so that you can sign in and validate your right for your image to be used. And you know that there is interpretation, so it's on the screen right now. Please go ahead and scan the QR code. You should be able to access the session through there. Let us know if you have any issues. If there is anybody who just got in who needs headphones, please let us know. Other than that, I leave you in the hands of Daniela.
Hello. Oh, yeah. So welcome everybody. Hablamos en español también para gente que no... Danai. Si precisa de interpretación, ella tiene para vosotros lo...
Si necesitan audífonos para la interpretación, por favor nos avisan y les facilitamos los audífonos.
¿No? ¿Todos bilingües? Ah, gracias. Ali uno. Okay. So, welcome everyone, and we're very happy to have you here. This session today, we're going to talk about multi-level governance for nature-based solutions. I will ask you to start the PPT so that we can put on screen. It's coming. Thank you. Perfect. All right, so now we have the PPT on screen. So as I was saying, we're going to talk about advancing nature-based solutions with multi-level governance. And we have here 4 people accompanying me in the session. Gilles Dognon from the European Commission sitting here. We have Jonna Olasfotortir from the Nordic Council of Ministers sitting here. And then Susanna Jonfra from IUCN there. And Stuart McGuinness is going to join us at 4. He's also like the Deputy Director of IUCN. Yes, and this session is going to be streamed. So we're being a little bit the guinea pigs because it's the first session from the EU Pavilion that we're having the streaming. So let's hope that everybody at home, I share this wide, you know, because a lot of people don't have the privilege to be here. It's very expensive to come to COP16, as you know. So a lot of people are going to accompany our session online. So yeah. I'm going to start saying what we want to achieve with this session. So we're going to explore the role of multi-level governance in advancing NBS, and we're going to highlight collaborative efforts. So building an expansive NBS community. This is something we're going to be talking about also in the questions. Come to the front because you have presents in your seats and you don't want to miss the presents. Yeah, and we're going to also talk about why multi-level governance matters. So effective governance is critical, as we have seen, so that nature-based solutions can really fly and be implemented on the ground. And we're going to talk about coordinating across local, national, subnational, international levels. I just want to briefly say that the session is being hosted by the NetworkNature project. It's a platform for collaboration on nature-based solutions. You're going to see on the seats where you are some cards. You can scan the QR code to access the website. And it's about actually serving as a multi-stakeholder platform. So connecting researchers, but also cities, businesses, policymakers, to talk about nature-based solutions and have access to a very, very broad compendium of outputs, of resources about NBS. We're expanding daily. It's a repository of evidence. So a lot of people that are not sure if nature-based solutions are working, we have a lot of evidence in this platform. It's also about engaging people, knowledge sharing, collaborative action. And the project NetworkNature is actually trying to convey the outputs of more than 80 EU-funded NBS projects. So it's a big, big family. I remember in 2015, 16, we started with 4 projects, and now we are with more than 80 that are really focusing on NBS. So with this, I want to give the word to Gilles Tognon. He's team leader of biodiversity and nature-based solutions at DG Research and Innovation from the European Commission.
Thank you, Daniela. And well, I'm very happy to be here because I am privileged to launch our new report from DG Research and Innovation, report called Bridging Continents with Nature, exploring the state of play of nature-based solution in the EU and LAC, building a foundation for collaboration. And I would like first to thank you, Daniela, because you are one of the 3 experts who worked and produced this report together with McKenna Davis and Natalia Burgos from Colombia. So we really wanted to ask independent experts to do this work so that it can feed our thinking. And I would like also to thank 2 members of my team, Paola Lepori and particularly Fleur Van Ostrom Brummel, who worked a lot on this report, and also the international unit of DG Research and particularly Daniel Chiapes. So I have 10 minutes, so I could speak for hours about nature-based solutions, so I will try to be brief. But so when we speak about nature-based solutions and when I have to explain the concept to my hierarchy, I always say that with nature-based solution, it means that we work with nature and people, for nature and people. And so we have this concept of working together. So that's the key word of my intervention, it's together. And probably you know, but it's very important to remind that we all know we are facing a climate crisis and it's getting worse and worse, particularly since 2023. But many people forget about the nature crisis. So biodiversity is collapsing, it's catastrophic. And so we need to bring back nature into our lives. So that's one of the messages from this COP16. Another message is we need to make peace with nature. And nature is our ally in the fight against climate change. But actually, if I could comment on that, we are the ones attacking nature. And so we have to make peace with the ally we are attacking. And so with this report, we also wanted to avoid long discussions about the definition of nature-based solution, even if it's important that we all agree. But really, we should stop wasting time on definition. We need to implement urgently. And so we should start where we all agree. And so we have also challenges in common. We all live on the same planet. And so the challenges in common are climate crisis, heat, desertification, flooding, water scarcity, etc. And nature-based solutions are there to help us. Nature-based solutions are either very sophisticated, very technical, but many of them are actually implemented for centuries. And this is the importance of the indigenous people knowledge. And there are thousands and thousands of different nature-based solutions for dozens and dozens of challenges. In terms of pure research and science, we have already a lot. So research is doubling every year. So the number of peer-reviewed articles on nature-based solution is doubling every year. So we have already a lot. It's evidence-based, and we also benefit from indigenous people knowledge. But now we really have to discuss, collaborate to ensure this implementation at scale. Regarding the collaboration with LAC, EU started the collaboration with LAC on nature-based solution in 2015. And with this report, we really wanted to have a kind of overview of all the things we funded, but also all the initiatives funded by the member states of the European Union, and also what is happening in any country in Caribbean, South America, and in Europe. And so this report is really the basis for future collaboration on research, but not only, really on implementation. And in a way, it's the child of the EU strategic roadmap for EU LAC from 2021 to 2030. And there was in 2023 the EU CELAC Summit Declaration, where nature-based solutions were identified as a priority of collaboration. And for this report, we made it because it was 2 years of work. We had preparatory work with one expert, and then you continued with McKenna and Natalia. There is a lot of work behind this report. And so you have information per country where we have issues together, where we have specific issues. The local side of nature-based solutions are very, very important. And I will just stop now just by saying that personally, I am convinced as a biologist that we humans, we will implement nature-based solution at scale everywhere on this planet in this century. But we need to speed up. We really need to speed up. We cannot afford to lose 1 or 2 years. We need to do it now. And I also wanted to say that many people say, well, it's useless to go to a COP. You could do that online. I have to say that it's my very first time in South America, just 2 days. And already what I learned in 2 days is that we have a very different cultural approach. So I'm Belgian, I'm pure European, and I already detected how nature is so important in Colombia and in South America. And it also helped me to, in a way, understand what I negotiated at IBES on the assessment of values of nature. But it's very important to take that into account, this cultural approach. So you cannot speak about NBS in the same way with some Belgian partners or with Colombian partners, but we can find bridges between us and to find the right communication. And just for this COP and my participation regarding nature-based solutions, my dream would be to learn about one nature-based solution implemented for centuries in Bolivia or in Mexico. And then that I would have a kind of cool effect, like, wow, that's cool. We never thought about that in Europe, and maybe we could implement it. That's what I want to learn. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Gilles, for your words. If you haven't scanned the QR code, we really encourage you. So we didn't want to print, see some little gifts on your chairs, but it's actually printless COP. You see that we don't have the amount of paper that we had in Montreal in this COP in Colombia. So that's the right approach. So we're going with the flow. If you want to read the report, you have to scan the code. Oh, yes, one page you have in your seat. If you don't want to read the 100 pages of the report, you can read the main key messages. Yeah. Next, please. Now I want to give the word to Susanna Jonfra. She's NBS Task Forces Coordinator and Overseer of NetworkNature NBS Hubs. And she looks into the strategy. And she's also Senior NBS Officer at IUCN.
Thanks, Daniela. Does this work? Yeah? No. Oh, it works. Test? Test? No? Okay, thank you. So, yes, I would like to focus building a bit on the introduction given by Daniela on the role of NetworkNature, but expanding a little bit in general to talk about enabling collaborations for nature-based solutions. And this comes from the need of enabling these collaborations in a cross-sectorial and cross-level approach. And it comes from the fact that the knowledge and the practice around nature-based solutions are quite scattered across disciplines, across sectors, policies, and stakeholders. And this really highlights a need to centralize both knowledge and practice. In a way, it means to make the effort to really bring the actors together, and the actors that are working on NBS, already involved in NBS, but also those that potentially could be involved in nature-based solutions. So expanding from the research communities to the practice, to the practitioners, to the businesses, to the policymakers, local authorities, to the general public, civil society, and education institutions, and so on. And also the need to centralize the knowledge we have on nature-based solutions, and the effort made on this recent report on the EU-LAC collaborations is also doing that, to sort of highlight what's already out there and what we already know that has worked, and the type of resources, case studies from all around the world that we can use as a knowledge base, with the ultimate goal of upscaling nature-based solutions. And this is exactly what NetworkNature is doing and what Daniela presented already, but I wanted to go a little bit deeper in one of the initiatives that we have within the project that's really more precisely enabling this kind of collaborations, actually at geographic level. And I'm talking about the Nature-Based Solutions Hubs community, which is an initiative facilitated by NetworkNature and the Urban by Nature program, with NetworkNature sort of playing a bridge as a link between these national collaborations to the EU level, but also with the ambition of bringing it to the global community through events like today. So these nature-based solutions hubs, what are they exactly? Basically, you can imagine them as collaborations that happen at national or regional level. So they're really taking advantage of the local context, the ecosystems, the climate, the culture, the policy landscape, and therefore the barriers and the opportunities that they face when wanting to work on nature-based solutions. I'm bringing together different actors from the categories that I mentioned before, to have this kind of cross-sectorial approach, but also from different levels. So really having the citizens, the people working at the local level, but also the policymakers at the national level to join conversation on nature-based solutions. And this is really what's fostering multi-level collaborations on nature-based solutions, and it's highlighting the publications that these stakeholders have worked together on. It's highlighting their approaches in their national context on nature-based solutions, and it's providing them a space to share and communicate and exchange these practices among themselves. So that's why we call it a community. And to better explain, I think the best thing I could do is to provide some examples. So recently, NetworkNature has started some capacity building programs targeting this community of nature-based solutions hubs. And the last one that we did, for the last one, we invited the hubs to help us by organizing site visits in their region or country, inviting the stakeholders that they felt they had to convince, or they could really benefit from seeing from a practical point of view, this type of interventions. And that's really what the purpose of a site visit is. So we invited them all to organize a site visit locally and then to share with us the results, including the experiences from the people that participated. And all the hubs were thrilled to do it. No one rejected this opportunity, and they all came out with interesting pictures and results and on the benefits and on the reactions of the participants. And we produced posters on that, and that was basically the learning experience that we provided in a capacity building session that we held earlier this year. To give you an example, the Ukrainian hub, as a case study, used this peri-urban close to nature forestry approach. And that's where they organize the site visit, and they have several participants. For example, here I have the reaction of a state forestry enterprise that was among the people that participated, reflecting on the fact that existing regulations on close to nature forestry do not cover all aspects of practical implementation. And the visit offered a valuable opportunity to discuss the challenges and perspectives with the experienced team of the forest. We identified the need for legislative amendments to better support these practices. Basically, through the visit, this is showing how different types of stakeholders actually gained knowledge, but also a realization of what are the needs and what more can be done in that specific local context. So something that might not be the case in other occasions, in other places. Similarly, in Spain, the Spanish hub organized a site visit in an urban park to really highlight how an urban park can become a nature-based solution. And here we have a reaction from a citizen that says that I hadn't realized the benefits that parks can bring. I saw it more as a green space for recreation, but now I've seen its value for biodiversity and ecosystems and its contribution to improving air quality and providing acoustic insulation from the city noise. Basically, the citizen has realized what an NBS is by seeing it in practice. And lastly, another example I brought is from Italy. The Italian hub organized a site visit in an urban community garden in Turin. And here we have the reaction of an international student that says, it is needed to increase the size and reach of NBS in Turin. Orti Generali, which is the site, showcased a large-scale example of nature-based solutions, while other displayed solutions are small-scale. How can we impact more people with NBS? So this specific visit actually generated interest and willingness to contribute, to have more of a community-based approach to nature-based solutions. So these are just examples. We have plenty more that you can access. But with this, I wanted to highlight the power of having these national and regional collaborations on nature-based solutions. Thanks.
Thank you, Susanna, for bringing the examples of 3 different hubs. And now we would like to give the word to Jonna. Jonna is also involved in a hub, and she's going to tell us from her own voice the experiences that they're doing on the ground there.
Thank you very much, Daniela. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for having me here today. I'm happy to share some insights from the NetworkNature Nordic Hub, and to demonstrate how multi-level governance has played a role in advancing nature-based solutions in the Nordic region. First of all the work within the Nordic Council of Ministers operates on multiple levels. Also, the program that I coordinate for the Nordic Council of Ministers based in the Environment Agency in the Faroe Islands. It's a 4-year program on nature-based solutions. And the Council of Ministers finances projects across all of the Nordic countries, and the work is implemented by national organizations which act as the administrative bodies for specific projects. So a key requirement for project funding is that there must be a cooperation between at least 3 Nordic countries, which contributes to strengthen the Nordic cooperation. Okay, so why did we join the NetworkNature? Our collaboration with the NetworkNature has been mutually beneficial, I hope. By joining the platform, the Nordic countries have gained a broader international stage to showcase our nature-based solutions, while the NetworkNature has benefited from access to the case studies from the Nordic region. So when we first joined, there were no pins in the Nordic area. And now we have a growing number of case studies, and we contribute these cases to the case study finder on the NetworkNature webpage, where anyone can explore examples of Nordic nature-based solutions projects. So what is the Nordic Hub? The NetworkNature Nordic Hub is a network and a platform that brings together around 100 members from across the Nordic countries, including organizations working with nature-based solutions. It offers a space for exchanging contacts, sharing best practices, and discussing both the challenges and the successes of implementing nature-based solutions. This collaborative network is important for driving innovation and strengthening our collective impact. So what do we do in the NetworkNature Nordic Hub? The Nordic Hub was officially launched in Copenhagen in October 22 with a kickoff meeting featuring 17 presentations and participants from 8 different countries. At the launch, Jonas Wendel, then General Secretary of the Nordic Council of Ministers, he emphasized the importance of collaboration with his words. We live in uncertain times, so working together is more important than ever. Since then, we've been actively engaging with the wider community to spread knowledge about NBS. We've hosted several webinars, shared updates through newsletters, and ensured the Nordic Hub's presence at key global events such as Climate and Biodiversity COP, where we showcase our work. So these efforts, including webinars like those you can see here on the screen, have helped us expand our reach and foster a dynamic exchange of ideas, both within the Nordic region and internationally. So now let me show you some examples, some real-world examples of nature-based solutions from the Nordic region. These case studies illustrate a variety of approaches to tackling environmental challenges, demonstrating the diverse ways in which nature-based solutions are being applied. Let's see if it works. And does it have sound as well?
The Nordic Council of Ministers has launched a 4-year program.
So the Nordic Council of Ministers,
a wide range of pilot projects in the Nordic countries, working with nature-based solutions inspired and supported by nature. They involve protecting, restoring, and managing ecosystems. In Iceland, a project works on supplying plant breeders with a genetic toolbox that helps them in their work towards a more urbanized and sustainable agriculture for local food supply. In Norway, a project is working on a nature-based solution in reinforcing stream banks to counteract the erosion caused by climate change. In Sweden, a prototype of a floating wetland system is being created to remove surplus phosphor from seawater in the Stockholm archipelago. In Denmark, strategic planning for multifunctional land distribution is being set up to establish new forest areas as a part of the landscape planning. A further project in Denmark works on reducing the garden waste by introducing quois fences and documenting their effects. In the Faroe Islands, students and farmers work together on the first project to restore eroded land. In Åland, 4 multifunctional wetlands are being prepared to enhance biodiversity. In Finland, a project works on restoring streams and forests and peatland around the streams. These nature-based solutions are all pilot projects that we believe will improve our toolkit to help make the Nordic region the most sustainable region in the world by 2030.
Yes, so as you saw in the video, we are engaged in diverse projects throughout the Nordic region. And the Norwegian Institute for Water Research has been following these projects very closely and compiled their findings in a report called Practical Experiences with Nature-Based Solutions in the Nordics. And if you're interested in it, you can always contact me or on LinkedIn or here afterwards, and I can share it with you. Also, we have produced a synthesis that compiles the knowledge on nature-based solutions in the Nordics, and 2 handbooks that aim to make it easy for government and decision makers to implement nature-based solutions are on their way. So our cooperation with the NetworkNature hubs, such as those from Poland and Scotland, Spain and Hungary, as Susanna mentioned, has been valuable. Together we exchange insight and best practices, and we also participate in different events, such as the city of the Nature of Cities Festival in Berlin earlier this year, and the annual event in Brussels every year. And also the last slide here from me. As a regional hub representing 8 different countries, the Nordic Nature-Based Solutions Hub is a prime example of multi-level governance in action. But it's not only Nordic collaboration that matters. International cooperation is essential for scaling solutions, sharing innovations, and accelerating our collective response to the climate crisis. By working across borders, we can avoid reinventing the wheel and move forward faster with proven solutions. And let me conclude with an important message. When we discover effective solutions, like nature-based solutions, that are funded by public money, it's not just our right, but our duty to share them with others. Good ideas shouldn't be kept secret. Instead, they should be adapted, reused, and shared freely so everyone benefits. The climate challenges we face are global, and the solutions must be global as well. So the faster we share knowledge, the quicker we can implement solutions at scale. So let's work together across borders and sectors to turn knowledge into action and build a more resilient and sustainable future. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Strong message, Jona. We have to work together and not patent the good solutions, but share and build together. Thank you for your presentation. I'm going to bring some examples from Latin America and the Caribbean so that we're always looking at this balance, right? We were talking about the ULEC report, and we also have amazing cases from here. I'm not going to bring the cases themselves, but some initiatives that are happening here that I want to call your attention. So there is this Urban by Nature program. It started in a project called Connecting Nature. And in 2019, it was the very first NBS hub. It was founded in Brazil, had a lot of participation of local NGOs. We had also some enterprises participating, academia. So we worked back then with many webinars. It was not so easy to do the bridge between Europe and South America because it's very expensive to bring people on the ground. So we worked a lot via internet. And it's interesting because you saw all this webinar wave coming. We did it before Corona. So we kind of like, it was interesting because then we saw all these programs popping up, but it was actually this NBS hub in Brazil was already doing it before Corona. This Brazilian hub actually expanded later into a South American hub, and it was led by the city of Quito through another project called Clever Cities. So they had Also, they delivered many webinars exploring very different cases from all across South America. So many different countries were participating in this South American hub. As it happens a lot, when the money from the projects is actually, the project is concluded, it's a bit difficult to take it forward. But a lot of seeds have been planted. And I am very happy to say that this Naturaleza Transformativa, this is an NBS hub also for South America that is being launched now at COP16 by people that I would love them to be here with us, but they are they're very good. So we are competing with the green zone. So they're now in the green zone presenting this. So I have the honor just to say in the session that they are launching this, and it comes from the Interlace project, but it has very strong participation of Latin American countries. And the Casa Humboldt on Saturday is where they're going to launch it. Yeah. And OPLA is involved, and the Instituto Humboldt from Colombia. Yeah, and I want to go back a tiny bit here, just to come back to what Susanna said, that we don't say it's a NetworkNature hub, or it's an Urban by Nature hub, or is it Naturaleza Transformativa hub. It doesn't matter really who does it, right? We just want to make sure that everybody takes ownership of these initiatives and that we don't compete, but we collaborate, right? So if you know of any initiatives for nature-based solutions in South America, look for OPLA, look for this platform there. If you know for interesting things happening in Europe, look for NetworkNature, let's collaborate. And then I want to bring one example from Brazil. This is the Resilient Green Cities program. It has been launched with 3 ministries. It's based on a decree that was signed by the president and the ministers of Environment and Climate Change, the Minister of Cities, and the Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation. And they are forming a steering committee for this interministerial group, chaired by rotating ministries. So one of the ministries is leading, and then 2 years later, the other one, and 2 years later, the other one. And it has a really, coming back to the topic of the session, a really multi-level governance approach, because the idea is to collaborate across all levels of government and civil society, and a whole society approach, actually, with academia. And so I just wanted to call the attention that this is happening. And if you have other examples of multi-level governance for nature-based solutions in your countries, please let us know. We want to make sure we can bring these examples. So with that, I would like to start the panel. Stuart, maybe you want to sit here. So, Stuart, I did present you a tiny bit at the start, but I'm going to give you the microphone so you can also present yourself. We would like to have a conversation here in the room about multi-level governance, and we want to connect it with the Global Biodiversity Framework. So there are 2 targets from the GBF that actually call the attention for this topic. So it's not something we're inventing here in the room. It's being backed up by this very strong GBF. One is target 14. It's about integrating biodiversity into all decision-making levels. It's about ensuring that biodiversity considerations are mainstreamed across all the sectors. So they mention in the GBF agriculture, forestry, fisheries, tourism, infrastructure, and also into policies and regulations, planning, decision-making, and the different levels. And then target 21 is also to ensure that knowledge is available and accessible, coming back to what Jonna was saying, to guide biodiversity actions at the country level, and to promote the generation of ideas, sharing them, accessibility, and including traditional knowledge. So it does highlight traditional knowledge to inform decisions at all levels. So with this, I would like to open the panel, and I have 2 questions for our panelists. The very first one is related to enablers. From your experiences, can you mention some enablers that you think that unlock multi-level governance? I'll start with Stuart.
Yeah. Okay, thanks very much, Daniela. I will apologize to everyone. Sorry I was late. It wasn't because this wasn't a priority, but I was at another event in the Chinese Pavilion, so I was splitting myself almost. But it's a real pleasure to be here. I think this is fantastic. It's I said it maybe just to give a super short synopsis. I'm now Deputy Director General now, but I've been working on nature-based solutions for about, well, since my hair wasn't this grey. It was for about 15 longer, actually, about 17 years we have, and in fact even before we called it nature-based solutions. So I think I really want to just congratulate the organisers. I think this is great, and I think the way you frame these questions are absolutely fantastic. I think it's spot on. So I'm going to try and build a little bit of a logic flow here. Nature-based solutions, and we've heard, and you and I've caught the tail end of yours, but I think we hear this again. Nature-based solutions are about societal choice. It's not just about the technocratic imposition of a blueprint, and it's about a societal choice at scale. Even if it's in a relatively smallly confined area, there still has to be a spatial perspective. It doesn't matter if it's in the cities or in a rural area or in a coastal area, etc. And so that means governance is critical. It has to be, you cannot do this without actually thinking through the governance considerations. If we're going to get effective decision making, which hopefully I would say that's what governance is, and not only that, because remembering that spatial context, a legitimacy of around the decisions as well. Because one of the things we know about nature-based solutions, while they offer up so many good, positive options, and that's why I think we've seen this exponential growth, there are trade-offs. And we've been very clear right from the outset. We were clear that there are trade-offs. When you are making decisions about land use, how there will be trade-offs. And it's not to try and sidestep those, it's to try and make those explicit and make sure that there is an equitable and negotiable way that they can be negotiated and balanced. So I think this actually is why so governance is absolutely critical. So to come to your question for enablers, and particularly actually I'd say linking up to target 14, first and foremost, it means then that nature-based solutions needs to be framed with a whole of society approach. And that deals with your issues of multi-level governance, but it also means bringing in different stakeholders as well. It is something that does need citizen and citizenship behind it. The other thing that I think is important, and sorry, I should say, and that whole of society approach, both in design and implementation. It's not just, and I think Jonna used some really nice examples of that. It's not just about a town hall and consult people on the design and then say, right, we'll go ahead and do it. It's how you actually involve those stakeholders in that process. The other thing I think is that we do, while I speak very strongly against blueprint type approaches to nature-based solutions, we do need a bit of a common playing field. We need to have something that we can talk to each other on, I think, so that we can make, for example, those connections between the different hubs. And that's where I would say that one of the things we've been working on now, is to try and provide a broad global standard with key criteria, not that dictates how things can be done, but actually acts as a point of reference to, have we looked at this? Have we considered trade-offs? Have we built an adaptive management? Is society properly included? Is this economically feasible? And I will flag up, we're in the point of doing a second revision. That the first was done with a really inclusive process. We had 800 inputs from over 100 countries. So it's out there. So all of you who are involved in the hubs, please input into the revision of the next version of the global standard. And maybe the final thing just that I would flag up as a key enabler is what you came to. Target 21 is around knowledge, learning,